Hey everybody, great to have you tuning in. I'll just allow everybody just to start filtering in for Wednesday nights with Wade. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be so cool. I'm like a little kid. So just setting you up in the corner here, folks, so that I know where you all are. Hello to Todd Johnson, James Welsh. Hello to everybody, wherever you might be watching. I'm in a little place called Mount Gambier in South Australia at the Broome household. And we're about to go from Mount Gambier, South Australia, to Hornieville, North Carolina, to catch up with one of the greats of NASCAR racing and a Hall of Famer just last year. So I'm not going to mess around. Let's get straight to him. Hello to everybody. Please share this. I want you to get on the blue button there and get out there and share that. Don't forget across the Knoxville Raceway.com page, the Facebook page. Don't forget to click on the subscribe to the Dirt newsletter so you can get all this information, because we're going to talk about the superstar racing experience. Let's do it. I can't mess around. I can't wait. We just got to get in and do this. Very, very cool. I do love technology. It's amazing how you can just go from Mount Gambier, South Australia, to Hornieville, North Carolina, to the great Bobby Labonte. Wonderful to have you on the show, Bobby. Thank you for your time, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. And it's Horny Town. It's not Hornieville.
Now, I did look it up, and it said that there's often a problem with people stealing street signs.
There is. I don't know why. Why would that be? It's funny. We live in High Point, North Carolina.
Yes.
And that is a little stoplight right up this road from here. And so High Point University, the college kids steal the signs all the time, I guess. I don't know what they're doing with them, but it must be something fun to put in the dorm room.
Yeah, I would say they're in a lot of man caves throughout the world. Either way, mate, thank you so much for your time. There's a lot to get through in a short space of time. I watched for kicks your induction speech into the Hall of Fame. It was a very emotional thing for me. I've only just got to really know you, but to see I think the pride in, particularly in Terry's face, as much as anything, your children, your parents, your family, the coach, Tony, everyone was there. But gee, you and your brother are close, aren't you?
Yeah, it really was. You know, you think about that. It's almost a year ago, and it either seems like sometimes 10 years ago or yesterday. Depends on how sometimes how the day goes, but or the days go. But yeah, I mean, you know, when what the Hall of Fame meant to me was it kind of put everything together. You know, because when we were racing, we would just go to races and race, go to races and race, go to races and race, and then when you're not racing as much, you're still racing a little bit, or I was, and you're still living your life, doing things. So for me, the Hall of Fame, whenever the induction ceremony came around, you know, obviously getting, you know, nominated, inducted, and so getting around in January of last year, you know, you start looking at pictures, you start looking at articles, and you start reminiscing everything, right? So it really kind of puts it all together. So for me, when I think about it, I go, okay, you know, I'm 5 years old racing a quarter midget in Texas. You know, my brother's 8 years older than me, you know, and I remember going to all these quarter midget races. He was there, going to these late model hobby stocks, dirt tracks, I shouldn't say gunfights, but there was guns, but there was fighting.
Yep.
You know, my dad was obviously my parents. And then, you know, so for Terry and I mean, that was really instrumental. He was so instrumental in what I did. And so, I mean, I could make the whole show and longer of what the progression was, but what he meant to me and what he did for me to get to from, you know, that little kid racing quarter midgets and help me out. And, you know, so when you put it all together for the Hall of Fame and you put, my wife is there, you know, the kids are there. Coach is so instrumental in my life and everything, Tony Stewart, and, you know, my parents. And, you know, when we put it all together and that night came about, it was like, well, I'll put it this way. My wife made a scrapbook and people wrote at our party afterwards, you know, hey, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And my dad, and I did not realize this, she told me this the other day, I did not realize it, but he he signed it too. And I know a lot of people signed it, and I just kind of scrolled through it. He signed it and said, "Thank you." He didn't say congratulations. He said, "Thank you."
Wow.
So I think about that and I go, my mom and dad, they've done, they've just, since the time I remember, we just raced. And, they're, to see their two sons on stage, NASCAR Hall of Fame, blah, 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 all that stuff, and obviously Coach was a part of it. Tony was a part of it. My kids, my wife, everything was, a part of that. And it just was a cool deal how it all came about, the way it did. And it was very emotional just for the fact that Terry and we were all just so close, and, it just, that's a good thing.
The beautiful part, praise the Lord, mate, it wasn't this year that you got inducted, because that would have been a whole lot more difficult to get all those people in the one room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good point, because, last year it was all kind of happening, everything happened. And the good news is, and I'm thinking I still got to wait for email, but they called me and they said, "Hey, we're going to leave your stuff in here for another year. If you've never been to the Hall of Fame in Charlotte, it's all huge, beautiful, atmosphere, and all your stuff is in there and everybody else's stuff in there." And so anyway, they said, "Hey, we're going to keep it in here another year." And I was like, "Okay, that'd be fine. Are you sure you don't want it back?" I said, "Nope, that's good. That's good." So anyway, that's, they do a great job. And, I know that they, being that the Hall of Fame is induction is not happening right now, so they're going to keep it for a while. So good for me that it gets to stay in there a little bit longer.
Hand on my heart, mate, Rusty Wallace fan, the Miller Genuine Draft car. I'm sorry. It's a very cool looking car. I went to Daytona for the Pepsi 400 in 92, and I bought a Bill Elliott shirt because I liked the Budweiser shirt. And I was standing in a bathroom at a racetrack, and the guy says, "Bill Elliott fan, huh?" I said, "Nah, mate, I just really like the shirt." And he goes, "Another Aussie." But I got to say, the Interstate Batteries car, mate, like, what an iconic paint scheme and what an iconic team.
Yeah, and what was cool was, so we celebrated, 20 years winning the championship back, the end of last year. And so we're sitting around here one day and the phone rings. It's Norm Miller with Interstate Batteries, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, he's like, "Hey, man, can you believe it's been 20 years? I said, "Not really. Some days it doesn't feel like it was again yesterday, and some days it does feel like 20 years.
Yeah.
So he said, "Yeah." So we talked for an hour. But yeah, that obviously getting hooked up with Joe Gibbs at that time, that opportunity for me, driving that car, and that the green Interstate Battery car just resonates with people.
Yeah.
And whether it's the green color, the fluorescent, whatever, but a lot of people don't know Norm Miller was the guy that designed all that. And wow. I will have to say, there were some times that he would come up with something and you'd be like, "Norm, that's just weird," but it was funny where he has such a great art, or a great eye for, making things happen. And it was fun to see that. And, again, we talked the other day for an hour, and, not that we don't talk any other time, but it was fun that he called and he said, "Hey, it's on my calendar. It was 20 years ago that we won the championship." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, how about that? That's cool." So anyway, but that green car, I think got a lot of fans because kids loved it. Yeah. It was just something different. It wasn't run of the mill, and Interstate Batteries was like forever, it seemed like, the sponsor. And where a lot of times that wasn't the case for some. So for me, it was, obviously winning races and a championship were one thing, but I think that the iconic of that green 18 Interstate Battery machine was whether we won races or not was a key thing for people to look at, see.
I urge people to go to, just Google it, Bobby Labonte's acceptance speech, at the Hall of Fame. You make a comment that Joe Gibbs taught you more than a championship win could have ever taught. And I could talk to you about him forever, but we need to talk about superstar racing experience. But it's a very moving speech, mate. And it's an incredible moment to share in your family, and even the $50 that you might have slipped your bro as well for the nice readout. Mate, the superstar racing experience, you're not done racing. Tony Stewart has the most amazing, crazy, fantastic ideas for our sport. He's come up with something that is really different. It's kind of a little bit like IROC, if you go back to that era when you ran and won that series as well. But we're mixing up the dirt here as well. Tell me about superstar racing experience.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I was with a buddy of mine at an auction for buying race stuff a couple of years ago, and even before that, a little bit. I talked to Ray Abraham, and I would see him here and there. I mean, you always cross paths with people, different places, and whether it's at a track or anywhere else. And so I saw Ray that day, and that one stuck out because we were walking into the building, and so I'm with Maurice, and anyway, we stop each other and we're like, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? And so Ray said, hey, I'm still working on this deal. I think something like an IROC thing. And I don't know, just trying to put it all together, George Pine and blah, blah, blah. He said, would you be interested? I said, yeah, just let me know. So again, you see each other 3 or 4 months later, 6 months later, how are things going? Yeah, still work on that IROC thing and that concept, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so we were, I don't remember when it was, but buddy of mine, Willie T. Ribbs, texts me, says, hey, Ray got that deal. I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, you need to text him. I said, all right. So I said, hey, did you get it? He said, yeah, let me send you the contract. So he did, and we signed it. And so there we are. And so he's been talking about it for a while, and it was exciting to hear him, a vision that he had, and he's made it happen. And it's going to be an amazing 6-race series, 12 drivers, equally prepared cars, at different venues between Knoxville and Lucas Oil Speedway, probably the two variant, of tracks. And so exciting to be a part of that. And luckily I get to race a little bit, throughout the year and different things. But, I know that that'll be a fun time for all of us, and for me especially, to be able to go and race either whether it's on a dirt or a short track, and kind of across the Midwest and up north and Northeast. And so it should be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to get a lot of attention. And with Ray Abraham being a part of it, obviously Tony Stewart being a part of it, those two powerhouse people know how to create the right atmosphere and the right element of race cars and racing. And I'm not sure that I don't know that short track racing might bring out a little fighting every now and then, or arguing, but you never know. But it should be a lot of fun, and we should, I believe, put on a heck of a show. And it's cool that the IROC, in my mind, IROC racing was always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And myself and Tony, I know the two of us, whoever, Bill Elliott was in it as well. I don't know who else might have been in the IROC series years ago, if they weren't. But it's a really cool concept. So it should be a lot of fun.
For my world back in the day, it was really cool to finally see Steve Kinzer against those IROC guys, because for us, it was our only way of seeing our dirt king get to mix with the asphalt kings. And I'm looking at this list. You said Willie T. Ribbs, Helio Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, like honestly, Paul Tracy, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. And can I just say, I just brought my buddy along.
Yeah.
Me and Mark Webber just hanging out, having a coffee here in Mount Gambier. Webber is a big dirt fan and a big Steve Kinzer fan. And he was at the Knoxville Nationals when David Gravel took the win. He was hanging out with Jeff Gordon. Mark is going to be a really unknown quantity in that. And he loves dirt. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah. There's no, if we were going to a road course, I'd say Ernie Francis would have and Mark would have a great, they would be like light years ahead of everybody else. Yeah. So it's going to be a mix between everybody. I think that, you'll have, it'll be, everybody's going to, all these guys are so good, but, a funny story for me is like, I went to Monaco for the F1 race a few years ago, and my son and I went, and we were in the grandstands. We just had grandstand tickets and blah, blah, blah. So I think Mark was doing TV, and I remember going to the bathroom and going to get something to eat. And so I left my son up there at the grandstands, and, here we are in Monaco. And so I go down there and he's doing an interview with somebody, and that they were over towards the way, and I went, dude, that's Mark Webber. You know what I mean? I mean, that was a fun time. And then I think of Helio Castroneves, and he raced IROC Series. I believe he raced IROC Series back a few years ago. Before, I don't know if it was when I did or not, but anyway, I've always been a Helio Castroneves fan, and I saw him this past year at Road America, and talked to him for a little bit. Great guy. And then got to know Willie T and become good friends with him. And spam call, I'm sure.
I've always wondered what your ringtone was.
Yeah. So anyway, so get to know all these guys, and like I said, it'll be a lot of fun, and we get to, again, the IROC Series like it was in the past, and I remember the first time I ever drove an IROC car was at Fontana, and Robbie Gordon got hurt. I drove for him.
Yeah.
And Greg Moore was in the race. I think Greg Moore was in the race. So I got to know him, and it was the next year after, I got to know him really well. And of course, he died at Fontana in an IndyCar crash. But I got to know different people from different disciplines of racing, and whether it was, seeing a Steve Kinser race, like you said, Al Unser Jr. race, obviously, and many others. So really cool to be able to do that, and so to have a guy like Mark Webber, amazing, along with everybody else that's in there. It's just, it's just going to be so cool that we're all going to be able, I don't know, it'd be funny we're all going to be hanging around talking, and it's like, oh, we got to go race. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cause we'll be so, like, hey, what are you doing now? Or what, blah, blah, blah. What's this and that? So anyway, it should be a lot of fun.
Just look over and see Paul Tracy and Tony just,
yeah.
So the series is going to be at Knoxville Raceway on the 19th of June. It heads to Eldora on the 26th. There's a cool little track called Stafford, which I follow on social media as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys run there. You've never been to Knoxville Raceway, Bobby. I got to admit, I'm a little disappointed. It's the Holy Grail.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that not many people have been to Knoxville, this group. So I don't know. Stewart's probably obviously the only one that's been there. I don't know who else would have been. I owned a race team that went there. Okay. I don't know that that'll help me out or not. But yeah, I've been to Eldora. I've won at IRP. I've never been to Slinger. Never been to Stafford. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. But I'm a little bit, I wish I would have gone to Knoxville at some point in time, and I'm not sure if I can get there between now and then, but I race as much as I can on it to figure it out. But it should be a lot of fun for all of us, and we'll have some family and friends there as well. So it should be good.
Let's talk real quickly about your foundation. I know you've got some cool stuff coming up with your charity ride. You do amazing work with the Bobby Labonte Foundation, and I urge people to get across all your socials for that. What have you got going on there, mate?
Well, we can't tell it right yet, but
so I won't tell anyone. Just tell me. Just tell me, Bobby.
Sure, right. So what we've done over the past 9 years is we raised, probably close to $1 million over time. For families, kids in our local area, and my wife Kristen has taken it. It was like this, and then she took it like that. Of course, last year we didn't do anything. We weren't able to do anything with COVID. So anyway, we took a year off, and we're fixing to ramp that back up so that hopefully by May that we can get it rolling again. So it's a cycling event that we've done in the past. So this isn't telling you anything what's going to happen, but what we've done was we've raised money through cycling. So we've had, the first time we had a group of riders, a handful, and we raised money and we gave it away to charity. And then as the years went on, we got bigger and bigger. The last 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we had over 400 riders, and we had an event the night before, raised $50,000. So anyway, it's just, and we all give it back to the community here in High Point and the surrounding area, Guilford County, Davidson County, Forsyth County. Anyway, that surrounding area, Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem. So we've been able to do a lot with that. And, if all goes well, we'll be able to announce something soon that will parlay into another event. And it'll be something that Mark Webber will probably want to come to, I'm sure, because I know he rides a bike, I think. And so it'll be an event that will take place hopefully, if everything works out right, that we can do another event like this and make it a little bit bigger than we did the 2 years ago.
I'll just quickly check. Weber, are you okay to do some riding with Labonte?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure he's in. I'm pretty sure that was a yes. Your modified racing. You've got some racing coming up this year as well?
Yeah. So, they're asphalt modifieds. And so it's a smart tour, which is a Southern Modified Racing Tour. So if you think about the New England Modifieds and that, basically the same thing. So I raced year before last. It seemed weird. It's a year before last, but because last year I didn't do anything. But year before last, raced at Bowman Gray Stadium. So it's a little quarter-mile track, seats 15,000 people, crazy atmosphere.
Yeah, wow.
And so I raced up there, and I was like, okay, this is the first time I ever sat in a modified, first time I ever raced at Bowman Gray Stadium. And it's like, okay, I can get into this. So so that was a one race deal, and we never get to go back. So then last year happened, and didn't much until the end of the year. A guy called me and said, hey, my brother's got COVID. Can you come drive our car, because he can't make it? I said, yeah, sure. Let me think about that. So I called him back in about an hour. I said, okay, I'm good. So I don't know why I waited an hour, but anyway, so went down there a couple nights.
You didn't want to sound too keen, Bobby. You had to make him think, I'm just thinking about this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, so I called him back and I said, I said, all right, Mike, I can go down there. So I sat in the seat and I went down there and run the race, started first, finished fourth. And so anyway, I'm going to drive that car. So 9 races this year. So starting off in a couple months, local, it's all North Carolina, South Carolina, a little bit in Virginia, a few races. So and what it does is it's early in the year and late in the year, and then the modifieds at Bowman Gray are in the middle. So if it all works out, we'll do some more racing, but right now, we've got 9 for sure, and then we'll go from there.
July 9, it's a truck race. The Camping World NASCAR truck races at the Knoxville Raceway. I'm just saying, Bobby, just saying.
I should look at my calendar.
Call me back in an hour. All right.
Yeah.
I don't want you to seem too keen, but
I don't want to. Yeah. Let me think about that for a minute.
My people will talk to your people. So that's July 9. It's going to be wicked having the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at the Knoxville Raceway for the first time, but can't wait. June 19, Bobby Labonte, not in an iRacing car, in the Superstar Racing Experience with my buddy Mark Webber, with Willie T, with Paul Tracy, with Helio. I just like saying Helio Castroneves. It's such a cool name. I mean, nothing wrong with Labonte, but Helio. It just
Helio.
Just sounds good. Paul Tracy as well, Tony Kanaan. It's going to be an awesome bill from Dawsonville. Tony Stewart, just to name a few. Quickly, mate, tell me what you've learned from 2020. I watched the particular emphasis you placed on your family in your speech. Have you learned anything specifically from 2020?
Well, I did not learn any new languages. I did not learn how to play an instrument. So, but I probably learned, the biggest thing, I guess, is just, we live such a fast-paced life a lot of times, and we had to slow down a little bit. And it's not always the easiest thing to do, to slow down when you're such a, when you're like we are, we're always 100 miles an hour. So that's probably was a good thing. I don't know that I know it yet, but that was a good thing. I've got to spend some time with my mom and dad a little bit here, more so. Obviously, it's harder. You got COVID. We don't go nowhere, so chances are, we just go see them. And so that's probably worked out well. But I think a lot of times it's just we're excited for the upcoming year that we have, that we can do a lot more. Hopefully, we'll be able to do a lot more. Plan on it. And but last year was a little bit different, and but at the same time, it was very rewarding, because we got to, reflect on things that, when you're so busy, you don't reflect on it.
Yeah.
And, we know that, hey, this is a season in time. This is, it's not going to last forever. But it also makes you appreciate people more, because I'm sure, Mark, even though he's cardboard, everybody else is, we're about, relationships and people. And my wife and I here, we got to spend a lot of time together, but our friends we want to spend time with, and our parents we want to spend more time with. And so I really do miss going to the races. I miss the people at the races. I miss our friends that aren't really in racing. And, because, we are built to, have relationships with other people. And, I'm a hugger, you know what I mean? So it's like, for me to go and give you a bro hug. Right. And that's crap. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's like, hey, I want to go shake somebody's hand and give them a hug. Yeah. And so I'm built that way, and that's where I want to be. And I can't wait to do that some more.
Mate, thank you so much for your time. It's wonderful to catch up with you. I can't wait to see you in that hot rod along with all your buddies on June 19, then heading to Eldora. Get across SRX Racing Series on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, we know all the Twitters. I still love that movie, Logan. How good. Please be safe. Give my best to your beautiful family. And Bobby, you're a superstar, mate. And it's a great thrill for me to meet you, even if it is from Mount Gambier to North Carolina.
Well, we'll stay in touch, and we look forward to talking soon.
Sounds great, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
So cool to catch up with one of the absolute icons of, just wow. What a guy. What an amazing man. Wherever you are across America right now, across Australia, if you're tuning in as well, wonderful to have your company. Please get across the Denison Racing tees. All of the Knoxville Raceway winter merchandise is now available. Just jump on to the Knoxville Racing, knoxvilleRaceway.com, and also the Knoxville Facebook page, and you'll be able to get onto the dirt, which will tell you that in our newsletters. Tell you some of those dates to watch out for. June 19, July 9, if I'm correctly, July 9 is the truck racing series. Of course, the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville National presented by Casey's is going to be coming up as well in August. The Cappy, there's so many phenomenal events coming your way at Knoxville Raceway. Please be safe. Happy New Year, everybody. If I haven't seen you since last year, looking forward to catching up with our next guest next week. Who's that going to be? I'll let you know when we know. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe, and please, if you get a chance, get across methanolmoonshinemerch.com and check out my apparel label with hoodies and jackets and caps and can koozies, we call them stubby coolers, and also our Moose methanol range of athleisure wear for ladies. Have a great day, everybody. My name is Wade Aunger. Be safe wherever you are, and if you're a hugger, hug your family, hug your loved ones close, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday nights with Wade. Good night, everybody, or goodbye if you're in Australia during the day. It's all very confusing. See ya.